Hello and welcome to Topham Chats, the show where I chat to various members of the Rooster Teeth community. My guest this week is, yet again, Elle. Hey Elle, how's it going?
Hi, I'm fabulous. It's so weird hearing your voice transition into the intro voice.
Oh
Like,
yeah?
you just talk normally and then you're like, hey, when you get to introduce yourself.
I'm like, yay, I'm here everyone, let's do things. It comes with poses as well, but you can't see that because I'm standing up next to my mic, just like dancing around, just like, oh yeah, I'm awesome. But yeah, so that's what's been going on here. What have you been up to? Is it back to school, back to doing things?
Yeah, back to college. But
Oh no.
it's not all bad because I've given myself a week and a half off work. I booked it as a holiday, so because I've got exams, and then
Okay.
I've got a week off college, so it's all grand.
Ah, nice.
Yeah,
Pretty decent time to be you right now
it
then.
is. Yeah.
Cool. So today I got my passport, which is awesome, which means we can book our trip to RTX.
I'm so excited.
It's gonna be so good. I'm just like, oh my god, I just want to like jump up and down. I say I want to jump up and down. What doesn't pick up on the mic is the fact that I am actually jumping up and down.
No,
So
literally, ever since we said that we were going to go to RTX, since it turned 2015, every single day I've gone, I'm going to RTX this year. It's
it's
this
this
year.
year. Oh my god.
I'm so
There's so
happy.
many awesome things going to be on. So we should probably get on booking that at some point. I'm just like,
Yes.
yes. But yeah, I got my
Yes.
passport today, so I was just like, yes, finally
Ooh,
a step
so
step
excited.
forward, step in the right direction.
That
So
is.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's I've been looking around as well, and everyone's just posting things about it. The
I
forums
know.
starting to get busier and
Oh.
busier, and there's so many people going to be going as well. I'm just like, oh god, this is gonna be the best. I was speaking to Raf and Shelby the other day as well, and they're like, oh, maybe the four of us should room together. I was like, yeah, it sounds all right. And I was like, oh god, things are getting planned already, and I'm just,
I
I
know.
like it. I like being well in advance of things,
It's
and this
like
is
so
suiting me to the
soon.
ground. But it's not. It's in August. It's like 9
Yeah,
months
but
away,
that's
8 months away
soon.
even.
That is soon.
That's soon. It's this
I
year.
normally plan things like a year and a half in advance for holidays. So this is soon.
Yeah,
It's soon.
it totally is
I'm
soon. Yeah,
so
like
excited.
there's gonna be so many things to do and so many people to meet and so many
I
faces
know.
to
I've
touch.
never met anyone. I get to meet you.
Well, I'm sure that'll actually happen before we go.
um.
That's going to happen before we go.
Yeah.
I'm not giving you a choice there, really.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll sort that out. We'll sort that out.
Obviously. Yeah, so that's all fun and everything's happening, and I'm just so excited, and I'm pretty sure other people are excited too. But yeah, there's lots of things going on. So how was your Christmas time and your holiday time? How was that for you? Did you have lots of fun, lots of parties, lots of other things? I don't know what else there would be.
Yeah. It was fun. My sister came down. She's still here. She's going back. On Sunday back to Portsmouth, which will be sad because then I won't see her till about May now
Hmm.
to see the Foo Fighters. Woo!
Oh, awesome! Where are you seeing that?
I'm going to see them in Manchester.
Oh, okay.
But I'm really excited for that. I'm standing as well. Yay!
Oh, I wish I got tickets for that. I just didn't. I
Yeah.
was just at work. I was really busy that morning, and I remembered at like 10:30, and I was like, "There's not going to be any
Well,
tickets
my
left."
sister just bought me one for Christmas, so I was just like, I love you. I love you so
Awesome.
much.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
I
I
know.
was I wanted to get those tickets so bad. I was like, oh, I'm gonna get those tickets. My dad was like, I couldn't get any tickets, and I was like, I just forgot. Actually, no.
Yeah.
The first time I remembered was at 1:30, after even my lunch break, and I was like, I should have bought these tickets this morning because the day
Yeah.
was just so insanely busy. And I was just like, oh, that's not good. But yeah. So the last 2 days for me have been weird as well. So I've been just like, I'm getting back to work, and then like Sunday afternoon happened, and I was just like, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to go back to work. I don't want to do
Yeah.
anything at all. Monday morning happened. I was like, I don't want anything to happen. I just do everything. Everything's terrible, and I just don't want to do this anymore. And then it got to lunchtime, and I had an apple, and I was like, maybe my sugar levels were low, and then I was fine. I
Yeah.
was like, oh
Because
god,
you've cut
all
the
the
sugar out,
energy.
haven't you?
Yeah, and it's surprisingly difficult, especially in the mornings. I'm just like, oh, my breakfast, because I did have like granola, which is full of sugar and
Yeah.
delicious things, and I cut that out entirely, and I'm just like, maybe not. But I'm gonna stick with it. But I'm starting to feel better and better and better and better. But I did have a huge slump, and it was terrible. And I remember that last time I was doing this kind of like, I don't know, not diet necessarily. Like last time I did this was I was trying to get down to the weight for my competition. So like I was like, oh god, yeah, drained and just, ugh. But I know that I have the ability to actually eat more, which is good, but just no sugar, so that's fine.
Yeah,
Like I
your
can
body will
balance
get used
myself
to
out.
it eventually though, and you'll start like you won't feel it as much as you go on. But it's
Oh
just
yeah,
because it's
totally.
like cut straight away. You're just like, oh, no,
Yeah,
what?
yeah, and just I've done it before quite a few times. It's just
Yeah.
it's always I always forget about like the first few days, and then I'm just like, oh, this is that's why did I do this in the first place? And then I'm like, oh yeah, actually it gets better, so it'll be fine, it'll be fine, it'll be fine. So yeah, what are you looking forward to this year?
RTX.
Okay,
No,
right, we've
but
already
I
talked
am.
about that, so maybe let's talk about something now.
Um. Well, oh, well, okay. My manager said that I'm next on the list for a promotion.
Woohoo! What does
So,
that entail?
yay! I'll be going from a server assistant to a waitress. Woo! I know it
Awesome.
sounds dead bad, but then I'll at least get tips and then I'll have more money for RTX. So,
Ah, awesome. Yeah,
so
that's a
she wants me to
bonus,
put
isn't it?
my application in this in the next week,
Yeah.
and then she'll get me in for an interview. See how it goes from there.
Ah, awesome.
But the other day she had me doing, or we shut early because we were quite dead, and like the whole restaurant's like on, because like we have a whole walkway of restaurants that we are on. So
Hmm.
we shut early, and she was like, "Oh, can you clean out like the stock room with this?" Because like we had a new boy working. She was like, "You can clean it out with him."
Hmm.
We got there, and there was a chemical cupboard, like a big yellow one that you're just not really supposed to go near. She was
I
like, "Can
don't
you?"
know. I have one of those that I go in
Yeah.
them all the time.
She was like, "Can you sort that out for me?" I opened it, and there was expired chemicals just leaked all over the bottom of it.
Yeah, that's what happens. It like with chemicals, like for storage, the storage dates on them are for the bottle's integrity rather than the
Yeah,
chemicals like going off dates because they
yeah.
rarely go off.
And they were
So
just like
yeah.
leaked all over the bottom, and it had gone through like the metal at the bottom of the cupboard, and we
Hmm.
had to like clean it all up.
Oh,
Oh, it was, and like we were like, "Oh, have you got like anything that we can like gloves or anything?" We had rubber gloves, but they weren't like rubber gloves. They were like, I don't know how to explain them, like the blue little crap ones.
yep.
And they were like, "Oh, just double them up." I was like, "I'm gonna die."
No, doubling up's fine because they have enough integrity. I don't want to get into like the plastics in them, but they're
No,
fine. They're
I know,
absolutely
I
fine
know.
for
I was
the
just joking, but
chemicals.
I literally said to my manager, I was like, "If I don't wake up like Superman, then I'm gonna sue."
Oh dear, oh dear.
But she did
Right.
send out a lovely message saying how nice and beautiful it all looked once we'd finished, and
Oh,
said that
awesome.
everyone needed to keep it at that level because it did really look nice, and we did organise everything into sections and colour coordinated stuff. Like we really went to
Nice.
town.
Yeah, I wish we had time at our work to like organize everything that we've got, but it's just at the moment just impossible
Yeah,
because we're just about to start. We're just starting up busy season, so everything's ramping up, and yeah, it's just been so ridiculously busy since I don't know, probably I think January last year. It's been busy since then, and it's not died down. And there's so many things we can do, but there's just no time to do anything that like should be done. It's all stuff
yeah,
that needs to be done, so it's just like so frustrating. But it's still decent and fun to do, so it's okay. So I'm just
yeah.
like, oh god,
You have a
great.
lovely little job, don't you?
I really like my job. Like yesterday morning, I didn't like it so much. I just wanted to shout at everyone. But then I had my apple and I was fine. So yeah, like
I
it's
had an
it's so
apple and
good.
everything was okay.
Yeah, it's pretty much gonna be like my story is like if I'm ever feeling bad, I'll have an apple and then I'll be fine. Gives me superpowers, but it doesn't. It just makes me feel better, which is basically superpowers in itself. That's okay. We can handle that.
How was your Christmas holidays? Because you had time off work, didn't you?
I had 12 days off in a row.
Wow.
And I really shouldn't have because I did nothing but sit and play Destiny. I've got a second like level 28, level
Oh
29
God.
character and I did that. I was going to write a whole bunch of music, but I just didn't have any motivation or inspiration to write anything, so I was just like, oh, this is rubbish. But I met up with a whole bunch of people down in London, and I don't think I shared any of those pictures on the Rooster Teeth site. Actually, I don't think I've shared any of them anywhere, so it's redundant me saying the Rooster Teeth site or anywhere else because I don't really use anywhere else. There are pictures of me though around because people posted a lot of them on the Facebook group for the event. So that was
How
pretty
was
cool.
that? Did you touch anyone's face?
I touched so many faces. And then Jim Jam was doing something and he was like, oh, doing something like towards Dan, and then he comes over to me, gives me a hug, so I slapped him on the arse and then he gave me a weird look. I was like, you started it, man. You started it. So yeah. And it was a whole bunch of fun. Like Dan was there, Dan and Jim Jam, so the hybrid and I Say What, who do Plot Twist on the community channel. They were both there. That's
a funny show. I like that show.
So much fun. So like we were just chatting and having banter the whole day, and then there was Craig and Izzy, and I don't know why I don't give Izzy top billing as well, because she's like the person I wanted to see there anyway, because we were just like, oh yeah, shenanigans. And that was funny.
I was wondering whether we were going to get through that video, this whole video, without that word being brought up.
Nah.
But you failed me.
Nah. You never set it as a challenge. If you'd set it as a challenge, I'd try to avoid it, but I'd probably say it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. It was like a conscious like challenge that I'd set for you.
You never said it. What?
And it was conscious.
Well, you're holding me to these invisible challenges that don't exist.
I was sending you signals.
That doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I met up with a whole bunch of people last week and it was awesome. And then I went to a New Year's party where we just got around, chilled out, and then someone freaked out like just after 12, and passed out, and then like everything was rubbish and everyone was just like, oh, better go. So I stayed till 2:30 and I was like, I'll just walk home. So I walked back to my parents' house, crashed there, and then woke up in the morning, drove back, and it was New Year's Day just going, I'll just play games on my own.
I went to a New Year's party. Well, I went to one and then I went to another one after that one. Like I stayed there till midnight and then I went to another one after that.
Oh right.
But I had to leave at like 4 a.m. because I had work the next day at 12. So I was like, oh, I'm going home. I need sleep.
Nice.
I was being the adult that I am, and I was drinking cherry tango and vodka.
What did I have? I had Fanta Orange.
Oh, brilliant.
And white grape Schlur, and that's it. Mainly because I don't drink, but that's beside. Actually, no, that's coming up in a point I want to make later as well. But yeah, that's how my New Year was as well. So lots of fun.
Well, we never had champagne, so we brought the year in with Jaeger bombs.
Yeah,
so
that sounds about
fun.
right, actually. I can imagine. Yeah. So, one of the things I wanted to talk about, and I gave a list to Ellie before we started of what things I wanted to cover today, which is fine. We've done 2 of those points actually already, quite naturally, I think.
Yeah.
But now we're going to have a distinct and different segue into awful different things. It's not really awful, but like I write a lot on the Rooster Teeth site. I write a journal every day. That's a thing that happens. Yeah. And I do it because in the past I got told I couldn't write, and I'm not sure whether it was I couldn't write or my handwriting was terrible, like absolutely terrible. So like even until I left school, like and went to university, I was just like, my handwriting is terrible. I want to make it better and better and better. And so like since I actually went to university and I've had time on my own, I've spent more time writing outside of school than I did the whole time while I was in school, because I just didn't want to write because it was terrible and the teachers were just saying it's bad and not giving me any pointers on how to make it any better. So yeah, I was just like, I've been writing like physically as well, and like I plan out some of the journals I do as well on the site, and I have at the moment I have a purple journal that I just write so much stuff in, like all my ideas and everything goes into there first. Then I'll screen them out, go back over it later and everything. But now I can read it, so it's actually okay to have. Like, because I just have I have a lot of ideas. Like, I think quite a lot. My brain just fires off. Like, last night I was trying to lay down and just go to sleep, but for some reason my brain just thought of spiders and snakes just trying to bite towards my face, and then they start, like, as soon as they got too close, it would just, like, melt away but fall into caterpillars and other creepy crawlies and, like, cockroaches and things like that. And then they'd all swarm, and then suddenly a snake would come out of that. And I was just like, oh, my God, my brain. So, like, last night I just could not sleep to save my life. And I was just having a terrible time. And I don't know how I got there from where I started at all. I don't even know what just happened. But, yeah, that's what happened. So, like, that was one of the reasons I wanted to talk about. Like, this is just a weird random question. Do you spend any time like physically writing things, or do you do a lot of typing, and do you just write for fun and just write loads of ideas down, or not?
I'm more of a writer than a typer. Like,
Hmm.
typing for me is more difficult than writing things. I'd rather write out like 6 pages than type 1 page. Do you know what I mean?
Ah, okay. Yeah, I can
Like,
do both roughly at the same speed. So, like, for me, there's no benefit to doing one over the other. But I feel like if I'm writing things down physically, then I can, um, like, they're always going to be in a fixed place. Like, if I type something on a computer, it can go into a file, and that file can go somewhere. And I don't know
yeah,
if I don't track it well enough, then I'm going to have issues with it. But like, if I physically write it, then I know it's there. It's going to be there always, and I can do that. There was another point I wanted to add on to that, but I can't remember what it is. So carry on with what you were saying because I'll try and think.
No, it was just I don't write. I write myself lists a lot. Like,
Mhm.
if I want to get something done, I'll have to write myself a list before I can begin.
Yeah. Mhm.
Because otherwise, I know that I won't do it. Like, I just won't do anything on that list at all. Like, it's not like I'll miss stuff out. I just won't. I completely won't do anything on the list. I do it all the time. Like, if I'm cleaning a room in my house, I'll write a list of things that I need to clean in the room in the house, and
Yep.
then
I
I'll
have a
do
list
it.
like that. I have a list like that for my whole apartment. It's just like I've got to do them in this order, and I know I've got to do everything in this order, and I know what I've got to do at each point. But if I don't have a list, I don't even start.
Yeah, I
So
find
like
it.
until I write the list down and there's things to do, I've got a whiteboard as well, so I can just like, here's what you've got to do, and it can be there forever. I'm just like,
Yeah,
yes, that can stay there, which completely eliminates the point of having a whiteboard. Why not I just print it on a bit of paper? But like every time I start, I have to write out what I've got to do, and whole mess. I'm just like, oh god,
yeah,
what
that's
am I
me.
doing?
Like, when I'm writing essays, I'll write exactly what I need to write in each paragraph before I write the essay. And everyone's like, "You've just wrote the essay, but in no form." And I'm like, "Yeah, because now I can write it out fully.
Yeah, obviously.
It makes
Yeah,
it
like
so much easier."
yeah, like I've never really been able to write, which is one of the reasons there we go. That's where I was originally going. Like one of the reasons I write on the Rooster site is I never used to be able to write like coherently for a
Yeah,
long
yeah,
period of time. I was terrible at it, so it's something that keeps coming back to me. I'm just like I want to write a lot of the time, but that's because I know when I was younger I never put the effort in like learning how to write properly, and I never really paid attention to the rules or anything, and I just really went for writing whatever. Like I tried to get things done like and out of the way as quick as possible. Um, to that end, actually, I've never really read a book. I've read 3 books, and they're all from the same trilogy. And then I read like 2 Terry Pratchett books as well. So like I'm really, I don't know what the word is to use, but I haven't got that wealth of knowledge
but
that other
that's
people get from
surprising to
reading
me
books. Because
because,
like,
like, you talk a lot better than I do, and you know bigger words than I do. But
yeah, but go ahead.
I'm do English.
Yeah, I mean, I dropped English after GCSE. Like, I couldn't do it at all, and I suffered with it. And but the thing is, I wanted to make my vocabulary better and things like
Yeah,
that. So I'd listen. I think it's more that I enjoy listening to podcasts and radio and things like that. And so I'm just like, oh god, that's like a brilliant, like a good way to find out new words and things like that. And
yeah, it is.
like I just have no interest in reading anything ever really. Like I'll read things on the Receipt website and things like that. On websites, that's fine. But it's more like listening to words and things is how I learn better as well. So like classes where people aren't talking and things like that, like in school, was absolutely atrocious for me. And I never understood because like I never understood like most of the tasks I was given. There's one task I was given like when I was in it must have been year 9 now. So that's what I can't
About 40 years ago.
ah, shut your noise. Year 9 is when you're like 13, 14, I think.
Yeah.
So that's, yeah, 12 years ago.
Oh my god.
And I'm so old.
Year
You're so
9 for
young.
me was like 4 years ago.
Oh, no. Yeah, so that's like 12 years ago. And I'm just like back then I was given a task of to come up with an interview of like a famous person, like when they're in character. And I didn't really understand the task until like a few years ago when I thought about it. Like for some reason it stuck in my mind. I think it was because my teacher was massively disappointed in the work that I put out because what I'd done is I'd found an interview with a celebrity like online, and I'd kind of reappropriated bits and pieces of it and like hacked it all together and just been generally terrible about it and not put in the effort I really should have. And I guess it was really like a creativity. Oh, sorry, a creativity exercise, and like I did not grasp that fact at all, and so I just like wrote the worst thing possible. It's just terrible, dire. And I was like, oh god, maybe I should have put more effort in. And then that's kind of come back recently. And I'm just like, yeah, I've got to write more. And I've got to do more things and things like that. It's just, I don't know, things from my past, like way back in the past, like when I was absolutely terrible at things. I was bad at school. I was just the worst. Like by that time, like in year 9, I was already going out with friends like at weekends and things like that. And we were going drinking and things like that. It's just like, what was I doing back then? I'm just such an idiot back then. Like, why?
I think that all the time. Like, everyone thinks back to when they were, like, a certain age and just think, why did I think that was the best thing in the world? And it's just not.
Yeah, totally. So I was like, oh, God. And then, like, yeah, I like, missed a few opportunities and things like that. But I still ended up somewhere I like, which is good. And I'm doing podcasts as well. Yay, this is fun. Woo. So another thing that was on my list was talking about one of my favourite podcasters, but he's also a stand-up comedian. He's called Pete Holmes. And I know that you don't know much about him, but why didn't you ask me questions about him? And I'll try and tell you what I know. That way I can impart some information and it not be all one-sided for a while.
I don't know. I googled him and it said something about Comedy Central, and I was just like, I don't know who this person is.
He had a chat show in the States last year, but it only ran for one season and like 80 episodes. And he did a monologue at the beginning of every episode. And yeah, he's just a comedian that works in the States. But he does a podcast called You Made It Weird, which is like 2.5 to 3 hours long, and he just sits and chats with his guest. And they go really weird, but like one of the things I find I know influences him. The influence. Oh no, I'm tripping over my words now. This is rubbish, isn't it? So one of the things I know that he does, which I've taken inspiration from. There you go. I got it right that time. Is that he like when he's telling stories and things like that. Like if he's trying to get a story out of the other person, he'll overshare. And like he'll share something that's a little personal, a little too much, and like that's something that I do like in my writing as well. I figured that out as well. It's like I'll overshare.
I love
oversharers.
Like,
it's like, oh god,
I think it's just because I'm nosy, but I love oversharers.
It's so much fun. You're just like, yes, I'll just put this out, and everyone will do things. But it also makes everyone seem a bit more. I don't know.
I think I do that a bit.
Putting it out to draw people in, just go a little over, like spill a little over, and then like try and get people's attention that way, which is one of the things that I like doing because it's just, I don't know, it's a different way to interact with things, but it also gets people to think about things differently as well, which is one of the reasons that I like his podcast, Pete Holmes' podcast. Specifically, it's just like he overshares and he gets his guests to overshare because he's been so open with them. And that's another thing I find, like, oh god, he's so open about everything as well. He won't like cover anything up, and it's just so
I like
refreshing.
that about people. I like it when people are open and tell you things and they don't hide stuff. I think I'm a very open person, and like, you know what you said, like oversharing.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll write a journal and someone will message me saying, like, did that actually happen, or is that just a joke? And I'll be like, no, that happened to me in my life. That wasn't a joke.
Yeah. No, there are some things that you say, like, I've had enough time to interact with you to know that, like, anything you say, really, you'll share is going to be true, but it's like, it totally suits your personality that it is things like that, like, ridiculous things that are true. It's just like, oh, this is, like, one of my favourite things. It's like, oh, God, it's so funny. But, I just drew from, like, Pete Holmes recently. I've listened to his podcast so much that it's just, like, it's kind of ingrained in me that, like, that's the way to be a human. So I'll just like take the inspiration and influence from that. And I know that like it's pretty obvious to everyone. I'll just be like, oh god, you're a person. And like he laughs more than anyone. Like on his own podcast, like if his guest says something funny, he'll laugh. If he says something funny and he thinks it's funny, he'll laugh as well. I was just
I love people who find themselves funny. I am one of those people. I will be laughing at myself and no one else will.
Yeah, I'm like that at work as well.
Funniest.
I'm like that at work as well at work, and people are just like, why are you laughing? It's like, it's because I'm the funniest person, obviously. It's like, god damn.
So many people in my work think I'm weird. I'm just like, why?
Like, no, you just don't get it, do you? Obviously. We're just having fun here. So let's wrap it up there. Is there anything you want to ask me, or is there a question I should ask you? Let's figure this out. What games have you been playing recently? Let's go with that.
I'll tell you the very true answer. None.
None. Yeah.
Which is
You've just been
upsetting.
studying. And
It's so upsetting. I got three games. I got
well done.
3 games for Christmas,
Uh-huh.
and I haven't played a single one. I've installed 1.5 of them.
Oh dear.
I know, it's really
So you're just
sad.
waiting for exams to pass, and then
Yeah,
you'll be
once my exams are out
bang
the
on
way,
gaming.
play the shit out of them.
Nice. Awesome.
What have you been
Well-
playing other than Destiny?
I've been playing Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris, which
Oh, is that the Let's Play
arguably
that
is
got released the other day?
yes.
Yeah, that
it's
was good then. I watched it.
arguably going to be one of my favourite games that was released last year.
It looked really
because
fun.
It's the first one was brilliant. I think it was Lara Croft and the Guardians of Light. I'm not even questioning that is exactly what it's called, Lara Croft and the Guardians of Light. So that was one of my favourite games that came out actually on the previous gen, and this has just come out, and I should be playing it pretty soon. Maybe within 5 minutes of us finishing recording, I'll be loading it up and playing it because it's so enjoyable, and it's bigger, and it's got a central hub to it rather than the first game, which was a linear story all the way through. You can just wander off and get into some temples and just go through them, but it's very, very, very enjoyable. And for a top-down kind of game with a kind of isometric kind of view with free movement around, it is very, very pretty to look at as well, which it doesn't seem like it should be, but when you look at it, it's stunning. I'm just like, oh, this looks so good.
This looks so good.
I know, it looks so damn good. Get all up on the mic and be like, oh. You won't hear that because the mic you're on's different to the one that I'm actually going up onto. But yeah, anyway.
Can I just ask you one more question?
Yeah, go for it.
Other than your giving up sugar and stuff, have you got anything else that you want to do in 2015?
I do have a few goals. I will share exactly one of them right now because the other ones are ones that I'm kind of working on in the background, and I'm not sure how they're gonna go. So I kind of want to get some progress made towards them before I say them. But the one that I do want to do, or the one thing that I do want to achieve, is that I do want to get my black belt in Taekwondo, which will be a lot of fun.
Nice.
And yeah, that's a good one, and I'm really looking forward to that. If everything pans out and I do all my training, I should be getting it in September. So, but if I don't make it in September, or I fail the grading or something like that, it will be March next year, which is disappointing and ultimately not my goal. My goal is to do it by this September. So I'm
it's
just
not
going to be
disappointing because you'll still get there, won't you? It's not like you're giving up.
I'll still get there, yeah, but it will just be further away.
Yeah.
It'll be an extra 6 months of training, and that'll be an inefficient use of my time, which I'm not a fan of. Yeah, I think that is gonna be it. Ellie, thank you very much for being my guest again.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. And I didn't even tell you the story about how I cut my nose, and so we'll
yeah?
leave it there. Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye. You're not gonna say bye?
Oh, bye. My bad. Bye.